Imagine someone walking into a room and acting like they own it. They speak loudly, smile with certainty, and take up space. But look closely at the mechanics of the performance. Psychology suggests this outward dominance is frequently used as armor to shield a person from their own insecurity. This creates a divide between two distinct types of confidence. The first is internal, I know my value. The second is performative, I need everyone else to believe I have value. This performance is effective because human beings are biologically biased toward certainty. Studies show we often confuse loudness with intelligence, trusting a confident speaker over a quiet one, even if the quieter person has more knowledge. Social media has turned this bias into a lifestyle. Platforms reward the appearance of success, luxury cars, edited perfection, and forced alpha behavior. We are encouraged to build public-facing personalities rather than authentic identities. When confidence is used to manipulate perception, the individual enters a fragile state. Their self-worth becomes dependent on external validation, leaving them in a cycle of constant maintenance to prevent the image from cracking. This armor usually begins as a survival strategy. For a child who grew up feeling ignored, criticized, or emotionally unsafe, the brain learns that showing vulnerability is dangerous. To protect itself, the mind develops overcompensation. When someone secretly feels inferior, they try to appear superior. The more vulnerable they feel internally, the more powerful they try to look. This manifests in maintaining control, interrupting others, dominating conversations, and turning interactions into competitions. Modern culture exacerbates this by demanding constant validation. People become addicted to the performance itself, relying on public approval to power their external mask. Because this confidence is powered by others, any moment of silence or lack of attention feels like an existential threat. If the audience disappears, their sense of worth disappears with it. In some cases, the drive to project certainty evolves into a tool for manipulation. Elizabeth Holmes engineered a mask to deceive the world's elite. She deliberately lowered her voice to sound more authoritative, adopted a specific uniform, and practiced intense, unblinking eye contact. This manufactured certainty convinced investors to part with $700 million. Her story serves as a reminder that confidence without competence is a dangerous illusion. But the mask can also become a psychological prison. Howard Hughes was once the definition of power and success, appearing fearless to the public. Behind that image, Hughes lived with deep insecurity and mental struggle. He became obsessed with controlling how he was perceived, a fear that eventually consumed him. External power does not guarantee inner peace. Often, the people who appear the strongest publicly are fighting the most chaos in private. Sometimes people use this performance to bridge the gap toward real achievement. Conor McGregor became famous for a larger-than-life personality built on extreme trash talk and dominance. Yet McGregor admitted that fear was still present before his fights. Real confidence means acting despite fear. Fake confidence pretends fear does not exist. Muhammad Ali used a similar strategy, repeating his "I am the greatest" mantra as a form of mental conditioning. He understood that if you repeat a belief long enough, the brain can eventually accept it as truth. While a mask can help someone survive a difficult situation or build momentum, relying on it permanently prevents a person from becoming emotionally secure. Maintaining a fake identity every day drains the mind. Energy that should be used for growth is instead spent protecting an image. This creates the environment for imposter syndrome. High-achieving people often live in fear that they are frauds who will eventually be found out. Because their self-worth is built on public approval, even minor criticism can cause an emotional collapse. When the identity depends entirely on image, the person becomes terrified of exposure. The tragedy is that by performing a character for so long, you lose touch with the person underneath the armor. Real confidence doesn't need an audience. It is quiet, calm, and grounded. Truly confident people do not feel the need to prove themselves constantly. They are comfortable with silence, they listen more than they speak, and they can admit mistakes without feeling weak. This state is built through evidence. You become confident by keeping promises to yourself, learning skills, and surviving failure. It grows quietly over time, like a tree developing deep roots. Performative confidence is focused on being seen. but real confidence is focused on being grounded. The strength you've been trying to project only begins to take root once the performance ends.